What's up, my people? Y'all all right? Positive energy, activate constant elevation. May this communication right. Hold on. May this communication right here, right? Find y'all in good health, strong, positive state of mind, and structured around positivity. You know what I'm saying? When you're having a great day, learning the lessons that you need to learn for you to turn out right, where you can properly ensure that you're handling your affairs in good fashion to the best of your ability. Now, I just wanted to come before y'all and build for a minute. Positive energy, activate constant elevation. You know what? Of course, you know, in this era of time we living in, there's a lot going on, you know, regarding things that we see, you know what I'm saying, with our physical eyes, in addition to things that we see with our spiritual eyes. So, to be free from the lies, the constant, systematic perpetuation and propagation of lies being produced from a lie factory to actually represent propaganda to trigger confusion in the population's minds. Much love to our true aim and purpose, right? To be free from the mental clutter that is a deep-seated wish for like evil forces to entrap people's minds into. Now follow this particular line of reasoning that the God is going to be articulating about. Look, mental health is important amongst our people, for our people, or any human being on this planet, regarding us like tapping into our potential, right, as individuals. Now, we know we living on a planet that has a deep history. And regarding the history of this planet, we know from certain common sense reasoning that certain powers that be, right, have got their hands on certain information in a way to not play fair with the information that they operate from, in terms of this information working for them and not working for others. So for the individuals who is considered like people who don't possess certain information, they consider to be at the receiving end of being vulnerable people. Vulnerable to what? Vulnerable to all kind of wiles of Satan, to the point where these particular forces excuse me, feel like they can get away with certain things that they are setting out to do to have ill effects on certain targets regarding regarding certain people of the population. Now, mind you, health is wealth. That go for mental health too. Now, for instance, right, it's this proverbial information that I want to go off into, right? That is designed for us to carry into practice a certain psychological tactic to where we don't fall victim to the tricknology of devils that work as a team against the enlightened ones who is considered, I guess you can say, a certain chosen few amongst the population on the planet that embody a superior knowledge that is rooted in enlightenment to, first of all, save ourselves with. First of all, this is a do-it-yourself program to the point where we have to work out our own soul salvation. You know what I'm saying? And don't get blocked by the interlopers' tricknology to get us tripped up to where we stumble and fall by the wayside and give up. You know what I'm saying? And end up in a mentality like, what is the use, man, of trying to perfect my being in a world that's rooted in wickedness and evil, and lose sight of the good in the world, and anchor ourselves in that particular good energy stream of things, you know what I'm saying, and be in tune with the universe from that angle of operation and operate and rise above those negative currents and low vibrations into the mind of God, the Most High, through the higher self, that we will not be blinded by, but yet see through the lenses of a spiritual vision that will enable us to make it and win and be victorious over the ignorance and the environment that we see on a day-to-day basis that has the consciousness of a lot of individuals made up of men and women. You know what I'm saying? For instance, right? It's this particular information in this book of Proverbs, right? We're going to read the whole chapter regarding it saying, regarding chapter 23, right? When you sit to dine with a ruler, note well what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you are given to gluttony. Now, don't that sound extreme? Now, we know we not extremists to the point where we don't just do a certain thing, say, that may sound extreme. But yet, what does that really mean? Is that talking about literally do that, or is that talking about symbolically? You know what I'm saying? Because don't that sound extreme? Now, we know, according to master teachers and messengers amongst us, right, who came to give us messages for us to raise ourselves in consciousness with, beyond the inferior teachings and information that certain forces wanted to entrap our minds into as a result of branded, gagged up, wrapped up, tied up in knots to be binded up in the mind with information that was rooted in mythologies and unreality and was not real. Now watch this, right? Do not crave, it's going to read, do not crave his delicacies, for that food is deceptive. Watch who you hang around. A lot of us, you know what I'm saying, be out here striving to better our life situation, but don't let it turn into being ill-gotten gain as a result of dealing with these deceptive people who possess ill-gotten gain, because all the glitter ain't gold out here. You know what I'm saying? But you have a lot of forces, individuals and women who fell hook, line, and sinker for these particular delicacies. They got them end up being out of character and possessed to where they hard-headed to embrace their own true culture that's rooted in liberation from alien forces. But you can't tell them shit because they like that shit. They like being involved with counterfeit spirits and shit like that. So for a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, who have separated ourselves from the unclean things of the world, right? We identify these unclean spirits to the point where we don't allow the unclean spirits to have any kind of connection with us, because we have taken heed to a higher knowledge, you know what I'm saying, doing the real work with ourselves to transcend this bullshit out here. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean us no good. You know what I'm saying? Look, when you out here cultivating your intellect and your mind, you know what I'm saying, in a way to evolve, it's either you're going to evolve in this life or you're going to decay and devolve. And a lot of individuals out here, they doing just that. They is caught up in a string of devolution of themselves to where they are ending up caught up in a situation of self-destruction. That's why they be headed. But who can tell fools anything? What fools these mortals be? You know what I'm saying? Here it is. We maximizing our development mentally to the maximum of what can be contained with a superior education that's designed to put us in a mentality to where we is in sync, where we have synchronized to a wise mindset that's free from the lunatic cycle, the cycle of wrongness, the cycles of lunatic thinking, you know what I'm saying, that has actually expired, but yet you can still see certain traits of that wrong cycle of wrongness still in people. So what time it is? Now back to this these proverbs, right, to be properly deciphered. Okay, do not wear yourself out to get rich. Now mind you, now here it is. Us as Melanite people of the sun, Nubian star seeds, Nuwapians. Here it is. We direct descendants of the people of the Most High, who come from the land of the gods, Africa, who basically is rich by nature, naturally being connected to the best resources on the planet regarding the gold, the diamonds, the oil, the minerally rich resources that make technologies possible to function. In addition to the technological inventions that we have created that other forces want to try to plagiarize and take credit for. But when we research information to find out that we have contributed great inventions to the planet, you know what I'm saying? It's a reflection of the DNA brilliance inside of us. Now, in terms of us, right, keeping our temples clean, going to the next level, listening to the spiritual guidance of our higher self for us to develop positive habits, to stay on the path, to keep on evolving spiritually, tapping into certain realities, dealing with the astral planes, the spiritual planes, the mental planes, regarding what's really is intended for us to embody, to become whole light beings that we are a part of right now, in terms of our spirit bodies within ourselves that reflect our true identity as spiritual beings connected to the all. So why do you think there's a day-to-day concentrated effort, all of this psychological warfare, to keep people distracted on things to keep people distracted from things, right, that's important, to where a lot of people's consciousness has been hijacked, to where they give their attention to certain material plane things that they think matter, but they don't really matter. But they matter to a certain degree because of us fulfilling certain physical needs, right? We stay there. So we maintain certain habits in a system that's connected to a particular matrix that's all about getting our energy, for us to put our energy into maintaining that matrix instead of going within and unplugging from the external entrapments, you know what I'm saying, to steal time from you, called time thieves. But you off guard, not recognizing the time theft, for you to get yourself together regarding being in this life as the great big test to condition us for our spiritual life that's beyond this realm. So there are spiritual occurrences and phenomena that is happening all around us, just as real as me communicating this transmission to y'all right now, to reach y'all, to connect with y'all in real time. But what time is it really is? Back to what I was speaking about regarding, just follow this line of logic and reasoning where I am going through the Holy Spirit. Watch this, right? Do not wear yourself out to get rich, right? Have the wisdom to show restraint. have the wisdom and the power to say no to a lot of this stuff out here that really don't mean us any good. You know what I'm saying? Certain personalities of people, certain characteristics of people that we come in contact with, right? That actually be people who be jealous of us and envy is of us to the point where little do we know it be people out here, man, who be thinking ill of us and not even want us to make it and succeed as a result of us being fortunate enough to put ourselves in a position where we can be winning. You know what I'm saying? So you have these particular hating spirits on us that be feeling negative about what I'm doing with my business. Motherfucker, y'all get yourself a life, man. Go get yourself a life, man. I'm just keeping it real. Get yourself a life. You have an opportunity to be somebody, but you feel like a loser for some type of reason because of some kind of internal conflicts going within y'all spirits, y'all minds. You know what I'm saying? That's causing a lot of y'all to think so negative and unrealistic to where a lot of y'all out here have lost y'all minds. And a lot of y'all out here is losing y'all minds. Look, ignorance is an enemy of the mind. You know what I'm saying? To the point where the ignorance cause y'all to be trapped in the negative frequency. But you can't see that you're trapped in the negative frequency, but you riddled with negative energy that's permeating from your body, having negative effects on other people's energy field that you come around to the point where somebody who got an energy field to the point where there's higher vibrations want to repel you away from them, or in all actuality they would just remove themselves and avoid y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because that particular energy don't mix. You know what I'm saying? So for people or individuals who is doing the internal spiritual work on themselves, right, to rise above the unclean things of the planet, those who doing the work on themselves to rise above the unclean things of the world, right, to get connected to the real kingdom of the Most High, the great goddess, being connected with frequencies and beings from different dimensions beyond this dimensions. You know what I'm saying? To where we are being rightly guided into a particular spiritual channel. You know what I'm saying? To stay on certain paths of the straight and narrow that is going to enable us to be rewarded with spiritual rewards. You know what I'm saying? That's designed for us to benefit from. We ain't doing this for nothing. You know what I'm saying? On this planet, this is a test. Look around. Today, you know what I'm saying, I was taking care of my business, right? And I noticed a lot of individuals out here, they was full of like psychosomatic energies. The word psychosomatic is like the mind, like it's countenance of a person's facial features and appearance to be pulled down with heavy weights on them, where they look like they are just so tired and full of negative thoughts and energy and mad, looking mad and down, like they just been going through so much negativity and suffering. That's just how they persona is. It's just full of bad spirits with a negative attitude, where it appears like it's almost impossible to have a uplifting, agreeable conversation with them. But here it is, right? Due to me having the mentality I got, right? Through me raising myself in terms of mental development and spiritual development, don't mean the next person have been doing that to the point where I feel good about myself, happy inside. You know what I'm saying? Because of me celebrating the righteous side of my willpower. You know what I'm saying? That's why the master teacher, Panabab Yalom, right, mentioned to us to think is a gift. Don't misuse it and don't underuse it. And also for us to be informed on how to not be putting junk knowledge into our minds. Yet, be inquisitive and develop a hunger to put real knowledge in our minds, where our minds will be in proper order, where we will reason outright, where we will be computing, where we will know how to compute information, where we will know how to compute outformation, where we will know how to compute and analyze through an analytical mind. You know what I'm saying? How to properly break down the logistics of persons, places, and things, and comprehend higher forms of the spirit world. Now here it is, right? This goes on to read, right? Regarding Proverbs. Cast but a glance at riches, and they are gone. For they will surely sprout wings and fly off to the sky like an eagle. Do not eat the food of a stingy man. Do not crave his or her delicacies, for he is the kind of man or woman who is always thinking about the cost. Eat and drink, he or she say to you, but their heart is not with you. Notice how a lot of us be having it going on to where we living righteous, we doing good. You know what I'm saying? And certain people want to come around because of what you got, not because of them loving you for you in their hearts, in our hearts, like in terms, say for instance, us who working on ourselves, who desire to have a clean heart, a good heart, right? But yet, we have to protect ourselves from usury, because it was a saying, like, when it comes to our love, right? Love allows for a person who you think they love you, right, to get close to you. So you can have people who get close to you, but they wearing a fucking mask and don't really love you. That's why the deceptions and trickery in this world effects. How do these things affect you? When people betray you, right? When people betray you, it makes you feel bad inside to where the trust is broken to the point where you can't trust them no more. To the point where that experience cause you to generalize about trusting people in life, period. I don't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're living in an imperfect world. But yet we striving for perfection. Who really striving for perfection? It is showing their character. Oh, this brother right here, you know what I'm saying, stand for some kind of spiritual school of thought. You know what I'm saying? To smooth out their character to be in sync with divine reasoning and how to look at life from the angle of spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Not the angle of a carnal-minded individual who is void of spiritual and social vision. You know what I'm saying? That blinds them from being able to have a positive impact on souls that they come in contact with. They can't do it. So for us who can do it, you know what I'm saying, we try to drop some science on them, or a seed to, or plant a seed of consciousness for it to develop in them. But yet still we got to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Because we dealing in a volatile environment to where we got to stay on our P's and Q's and stay true to the vision that we have that's rooted in the vision of being able to see further, you know what I'm saying, like down the wheel of time through certain eye-opening revelations that the Most High give us, that we will be able to see and follow. You know what I'm saying? And stay, you know what I'm saying, on a path of doing the right thing out here. You know what I'm saying? To the point where at the same time we still got to stay dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Against, the ills of society that might try to negatively affect us. Because we represent the light. You know what I'm saying? Connected with the depths of dark matter consciousness of the universe. This goes on to read, right? Do not eat the food of, hold on, let me go back. Eat and drink. Okay, this is where we at. These particular ones who are always thinking about the cost, right? Eat and drink, they say to you, but their heart is not with you. You will vomit up the little you have eaten and will have wasted your compliments. Do not speak to a fool, for he will scorn the wisdom of your words. Notice how a lot of these people out here was considered idiots, ones of low intelligence, who don't value wisdom. Yeah, they act like clowns who put themselves in danger to where they can't see the warnings that come before a certain destruction for them to end up being destroyed. It's called thinking. You gotta be a thinker out here. We got to be thinkers out here. But really, a lot of individuals, I gotta say it, they not using their minds like that. You know what I'm saying? They just following along certain programming by the influences of, like, say for instance, the Tavistock Institute of International Affairs and institutions like that that's responsible for certain mind manipulation in the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? Like certain mind control going on in the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta have a psychic self-defense to be able to recognize the programming that's trying to snatch your consciousness into the matrix world that a lot of people's minds is caught up in, to where these particular mind manipulators has the consciousness of major portions of the population. So for instance, you have the liars and the deceivers, right? For instance, we're gonna get off into it, right? Okay, for instance, right? Do not speak to a fool, for he will scorn the wisdom of your words. Do not move an ancient boundary stone. Or encroach on the fields of the fatherless, for their defenders is strong. He will take up their case against you. Now, for instance, right, we have archaeologists on the planet. You know what I'm saying? They have went to a lot of ancient sites of our ancestors and touched things you would think that they shouldn't mess with, but they mess with it anyway. So is there consequences for that? Or did they not care about the consequences for messing with stuff that they shouldn't have messed with? So instance, okay, say for instance, like in these museums all over the world where they got relics of our ancestral creations in these museums that belong to our people. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing how people pick and choose certain things in the Bible that they want to go by to justify their faith or to justify their belief. But like the master teacher taught us, belief and believe are the two most deceptive words in religion, because you can believe something and be 100% wrong because it's not based on truth and facts. It hasn't been confirmed. So a lot of us who is believing in things that's not rooted in truth and facts, or things that haven't been confirmed with confirmation. You know what I'm saying? We just blindly living. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. I'm back. All right, now look. Regarding people, right? Just without any kind of confirmation, just believing in things without checking it out for themselves. That's how we all been conditioned. And little did we know, y'all, we was put under spells. We was put under spells for real spells. So now we got the science to break the spells off of our minds. We have the power to get rid of all of them psychological chains of slavery and be aware and conscious of the technology, of the ways of these particular mind-altering conspiracies designed to not want us to wake up. But we have waken up. For us who is connected to the proper eye-opening information, have certain forces, right, that want to like demonize the word woke. Oh, the woke culture. Now wait a minute. You mean to tell me certain forces want to not see you as an enlightened individual who is conscious of their surroundings and conscious of real history and conscious of the future through certain teachings that is healthy for our minds, that's here to wake us up and enable us to see and be rooted in Ashu, divine love. You know what I'm saying? So somebody has an agenda where they feel like, you know what, it's advantageous to us for people to be rocked to sleep. But it's advantageous for us to be wide awake and free from the spells. You know what I'm saying? So here it is. We have rights, inalienable rights, birthrights. All of these things is healthy for the mind for us to know what we can be able to socially know how to interact with one another regarding higher civilization. You know what I'm saying? So, in civilization or in this society, we have the criminal elements. We're not born criminals. Learned behavior is learned behavior. So, it was this saying, right? Like, say, okay, let's go to the Trump administration, where our president right now, who made a statement about the youth in Chicago being born criminals. No, they not born criminals. They have been influenced in an environment that already was shaped with criminality in it. And that criminality actually comes from the criminal activities of white supremacy. Now, by the history of white supremacy having negative social impacts on blacks in the history of the growth and development of the United States as a country, has a history that was birthed out of all kind of hell for the country to get to where it's at today. And still to this very day, we see the traits of criminality as a result of the criminality that was instigated and created by the white supremacists. So, in time, yeah, we see certain social ills in the society, but in terms of Donald Trump's statement, these particular generation of young black men in Chicago or what have you, or in other cities, you know, like they born criminals. But wait a minute. By him being the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, representing what's considered the highest elected official office to represent the American people right now, which he is not doing because he representing a certain group of the United States of America regarding the MAGA movement and the Christian firm, what they call white nationalists, which is a racist oligarchy of people basically who is doing things that's counterproductive to the original aim and purpose of the Constitution of the United States. So with that said, how you gonna say they born criminals when reflect criminality yourself. So to project that on these innocent children, you know what I'm saying? Where's the statistics that you basing your understanding on regarding deploying these National Guards to these basically black cities? You know what I'm saying? And you got white on white crime that is going on out here, but yet going unreported. So these double standards to trick people in the mind to not see a certain narrative, to not, you know what I'm saying, to not see things a certain way, where they trying to use certain people as scapegoats for the criminality or crime that's going on in certain sectors of society. You know what I'm saying? Just liars. Now, truth is truth, right? Wherever it come from, you know what I'm saying? And we've been trained to think in light of truth being truth. You know what I'm saying? Whoever it come from, if it's the truth, we ride with it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't looking at things from a racism perspective, but y'all doing that. You know what I'm saying? Why would you try to say like blacks is acting out or utilizing reverse racism when we only standing up for ourselves against racism to stop the racism that's happening against us? And then when we accomplish civil rights gains, you have the Trump administration who want to take the civil rights gains of our people to try to set us back in an era of time that's conspicuously a racist atmosphere. So that is distasteful. That's not a competent presidential that's not presidential to me. What's presidential to me is like when, what was his name? President Lyndon Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Who was in support of Martin Luther King's dream, who said eyes on mouth as president of the United States in terms of America becoming better. We really do need to support his vision. You ain't nowhere near presidential like that. You know what I'm saying? Even though you president, a lot of people who voted for you, they feel like they wish they didn't because of your conspicuous non-white policies and the things that y'all doing that appears to be rooted in y'all being selfish. You know what I'm saying? When the resources of our government is to be distributed and allocated to us, all to benefit from. So, enough of talking about that particular reality of what's going on, you know what I'm saying, in our country. But back to what I was talking about these particular proverbs, all it tied to this too. But this covering the basis of a lot of perspectives that I'm going to be enunciating about, you know what I'm saying, to free our minds from the lies and the con games and the scams, you know what I'm saying, of these. Also, clergy that constitute to be 10%ers. You know what I'm saying? Look, regarding us being in our right minds, right? We have to have a certain help us get into that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Because certain damage has been done by these mythology, disinformation experts. Who love to lie. Like the saying goes, the truth is not in them. And a lot of them lack soul. You know what I'm saying? The truth is not in them. Because they is of their father, the devil, and the lust. You know what I'm saying? Of they father, the devil, they shall do. You know what I'm saying? So you have people in a lot of schools of thought, right? They be talking about, you know, we stepping on the devil's head. You know what I'm saying? You saying that, but in the proper perspective of things, how is you really stepping on the devil's head by nullifying the works of this ungodly stuff that is going on in the world internationally and geopolitically? You know what I'm saying? So, us being real and not being fake. There's a lot of fake ass people out here. A lot of y'all see it. A lot of y'all see it. A lot of y'all can feel it. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of us that's real out here, we straight see through these characters. You know what I'm saying? Good for us, because we trying to be authentic people on the planet. Basically, we are authentic people on the planet. So when it comes to following the leader, we've been conditioned to become leaders and not followers. But like they say, the blind leading the blind, they both or they all, or they fall into a ditch. So how we're going to get them out of that ditch? You know what I'm saying? Those who can see. This goes on to read, right? Regarding, do not move the ancient boundary stone. Now, we went off into that, you know what I'm saying? Regarding certain artifacts that's in the museums, right? Okay. For their defender is, or reproach on the fields of the fatherless, for their defender is strong. He will take up their case against you. Now, we have divine protections, a lot of us. We have someone defending us. You know what I'm saying? We have good things, you know what I'm saying, that's fighting on our behalf. Like you have certain people that be gang stalking people, watching God's people, the chosen ones, right? But you also have forces that is following us from a good angle too, to make sure that we is good. We to make sure we stay all right and stay good out here. You know what I'm saying? Look, it goes the other way too. So when it comes to us being justified in defending ourselves, you know what I'm saying, against any aggressions, we will be in the right to destroy that negativity, you know what I'm saying, that try to victimize us. You know what I'm saying? And we celebrate that. You know what I'm saying? From from a righteous angle. You know what I'm saying? Not evil, but from a righteous, justifiable angle. You know what I'm saying? To where our spirits, you know what I'm saying, won't be weighed down from doing something wrong. We have relief from that. It feels good to be working on yourself, to be free from the weights of negativity. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, when our Kemetic ancestors was like, regarding our hearts being weighed on the scale, where our hearts to be light as the feather of my ox. You know what I'm saying? The supreme balancement of the universe. The law of the universe regarding balance. You know what I'm saying? So, in terms of us, you know what I'm saying, being in control. You know what I'm saying? We got to stay in control. You know what I'm saying? And let nobody be a nuisance on our post or cipher. It's just how it gotta go. You know what I'm saying? It has to be that way. Because we spiritually mature. This goes on to read, right? Apply your heart to instructions and your ears to words of knowledge. Do not withhold discipline from the child. If you punish him with the rod, he will not die. Punish him with the rod and save his soul from death. So what certain forces telling us about our children regarding not whooping the children? But they want to interfere, you know what I'm saying, with you organically raising your baby, for your baby to stay in line with certain divine principles that's designed to keep them mentally sharp. Regarding knowing the difference between right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? My son or daughter, if your heart is wise, then my heart will be glad. My innocent, my innermost being will rejoice. That's why the Most High know a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, innermost being is rooted with the divine instructions written on the tablets of our heart to be in remembrance of how to conduct ourselves spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Where it's pleasing and agreeable in the eyes of the Most High through our higher selves. You know what I'm saying? That produce good karma. Good karma. But we stay out of the way of the negative karmas of the world. We don't get involved with that. We stay out of the way of the negative karmas in the world. You know what I'm saying? But we benefit from our good karma. This goes on to read, right? Okay. When your lips speak what is right, my heart is wise. Then my heart will be glad. My inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak what is right. Now here it is. This communication with y'all, right, got y'all attention for a good reason. Because speaking what is right to lead you in the right direction and not the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, for instance, we all have made mistakes in life, right? To the point where we learn from the mistakes. So as far as learning from the mistakes, and I'm sharing with you insight about correcting yourself from mistakes that you done made, from correcting yourself from mistakes that we have made. Isn't that right? But you have forces who don't want us to communicate right. So ones can be communicating wrong as a result of them not standing for what's right. You know what I'm saying? So here it is. Once upon a time, we was doing wrong in life. And we messed around and got punished with the penitentiary, did some time or something, and learned our lesson, got out, living free. And some individuals contributed to what they call the recidivism of the prison industrial complex and went back like a revolving door, not learning lessons they were supposed to learn as far as catching themselves to let going to prison the first time to serve them as an example, not to repeat that ever again in life, because your life belongs to you. Your life don't belong to them. I realize my life belongs to me. This is my life. It don't belong to them, where I'm not supposed to be under no state supervision of any kind. I'm not supposed to be on no parole, probation, no negative paperwork on my name or nothing like that. Those forms of punishment may be justifiable for people who is out here knowingly doing wrong. It's a place for people like that. And it's called prison and penitentiary. But for individuals, you know what I'm saying, such as myself, right? You know, I made, you know, certain decisions where, no, man, you know, my future, you know what I'm saying, is about me being a productive person in life with my freedoms and rights intact and secure for me in the free world as a free man that I value and celebrate on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? Being free from being within the jurisdiction of them kind of systems that have clutches on people, where they like is manipulated by forces that is punishing them and abusing them and using them and basically giving them hell until they're able to get out the clutches of that situation. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that I stay out of them kind of elements. And you should be glad to stay out of them kind of elements too, and focus on being productive out here, where you can tap into the potential of you living a great life. Fuck all these problems out here. We have the ability, as far as us being architects of our own life. Look, as a man or woman thinking, so are they. I don't got time for the low vibratory root chakra civilization society that's made up of all of the lust, the trouble, the unclean spirits. That's where they dwell. You know what I'm saying? So as far as me, separate myself from the unclean things of the world, I'm dwelling with clean spirits, where clean spirits dwell. You know what I'm saying? Righteous people, you know what I'm saying, that's in the world doing positive things. This goes on to read, right? Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always be zealous for the fear of the Most High. Listen and be wise. You know what I'm saying? The sons and daughters of the Most High, right? Listen and be wise. And keep your heart on the right path. That's what I do. I love it. You know what I'm saying? And people like me. I know y'all love it. Do not join those who drink too much wine or gorge themselves on meat, for drunkards and gluttons become poor, and drowsiness clothe them in rags. Listen to your father who gave, or your divine mother who gave you life. You know what I'm saying? We glorify the divine feminine, the divine feminine. You know what I'm saying? And do not despise your mother when she is old. Buy the truth and do not sell it. Get wisdom, discipline, and understanding. The divine mother of a righteous man and woman has great joy. He or she who has a wise son, delight in him. May your father and mother be glad. May she who gave you birth rejoice. So, a lot of these young men that a lot of black women have gave birth to, stop being a burden to y'all mothers. Be a relief to y'all mothers by adopting righteous lifestyles through knowledge itself that is here to save y'all lives for the better, instead of getting caught up in the gang culture like that. You know what I'm saying? Gangs can be positive, structured around divine wisdom of our true spiritual sciences to transform the negative qualities and aspects of that particular lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? This is a good message for those who's in the streets that is into them particular kind of mentalities. You know what I'm saying? Basically, the gang culture should represent knowledge itself to improve the communities of our nation as a people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the gangs can be positive. This goes on to read, right? May your fathers and mothers be glad. May she who gave birth to you rejoice. You know what I'm saying? As far as knowing that they don't have to worry about the babies in and up in some kind of death and destruction or bad news that make our mamas and fathers sad. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just represent a positive lifestyle structured around real growth and development that make our parents glad and happy about us because of we representing the truth, doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, this goes on to read, right? My son, the Most High and the great Goddess. Y'all give y'all heart to the Most High Goddess, the creator of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Learn about her through our culture, through spiritual science. Know thyself. That's what our ancestors always pointed out to. Because don't know ourselves, you know what I'm saying, we will be subjected to false teachings that put us out of our minds. And when we have lack of knowledge of self, we find our people living a beast lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Where they are living on a lower level that has failed from the God consciousness through our true spiritual sciences. The God consciousness through our true spiritual